Welcome everyone to the Australian Gold Conference 2023. I'm here in Barangaroo with the wonderful and very influential Lynette Zang. How are you going?
Oh, it's wonderful to be here. I'm having a great time.
Oh, well, it's lovely to have you here, and it was very exciting to see you up on stage last night with Michael Pepper, the director of Bullion Now, and there was a lot of interesting conversation that was had there.
Yes.
And a point that you mentioned was, and I was unfamiliar with, is that you had done a bit of study on the Australian and New Zealand financial market. So I was wondering if you could share a little more information on that with me now.
Well, yes, actually. I was a new stockbroker at Shearson back in the day.
Yep.
And I stumbled across New Zealand bonds. And I thought, wow, it was a 5-year piece of paper, actually McDonald's, which was AAA rated.
Yep.
And the interest rate was so much higher than what we could get in the States. And so back in those days, you could talk to the head of any currency, any trading desk at Shearson.
Yep.
And so I started talking to the head of currency trading. And then, yes, every night I would go home and I would study. And then in the morning, that was my first call, and I'd tell her what I learned. We'd have this discussion. So that lasted about a year and a half, but it also made me fall in love with the area.
Yeah, right. So this isn't your first trip to Australia?
It is, but
really?
been on my bucket list since 1987.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Oh, very good. Well, welcome. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you. This is not going to be the last trip. It's fabulous.
Something else I wanted to ask you about, and I think we have a shared passion here. There are a number of our audience and stackers in general in Australia in particular that are purely interested in coins for their intrinsic value, and they just want what's referred to as raw coins, bullion coins. But I have a sneaking suspicion that you have a bit of a soft spot for PCGS graded coins and coins of historical significance.
Yes, you could say that.
Yeah.
I do. A lot of that was influenced by my Uncle Al.
Yeah.
But, additionally, when you look at what the 1% are buying for themselves,
Yep.
then I like to be in that category because they are likely either the ones that write the laws
Yeah.
or have influence over the ones that write the laws. And when you look at history, the masses don't understand these laws. The guys that create them do. And we all have a history of confiscation. So I can't say that we're going to have an overt confiscation again, but it's a possibility.
Yeah.
So I kind of look and go, well, what if I'm right and what if I'm wrong? And since I'm quite clear that gold is severely undervalued, paying that little bit of premium to be in the category with the 1% is my personal level of comfort.
Yeah, which is totally fair. And so the coins that you have, when you're looking at a PCGS graded coin, are you looking more so for like something of historical significance of a high grade? Like, does grade factor in for you when you're buying those older coins?
Well, it depends.
Yeah.
Okay? And I mean, everything depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Because people think, oh, gold is gold, and that's not really true. And when you look back historically on performance, different grade levels of coins based upon their quality and rarity perform at different levels. And even now, the two charts that I showed you from PCGS, and both coins had broken out of a trading range, but the ultra rarities were at all-time highs.
Yeah.
Right? What does that tell you? Right? Tells me that the 1% that understand what's happening are protecting their wealth and going to the ultra rarities. So I've broken down based on my studies, right, of history and how things move. I discovered that different coins at different levels are better at certain things than at others.
Yeah.
And I can give you an example which people will probably relate to. I can tell you for a fact I have used my heel of my shoe, to hammer in a nail so I could hang a picture.
Yeah.
And I've done that. It's worked. But if I have a hammer, it just works so much better.
This is true.
So it's the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
And when I'm looking at everything, there are two things that I really want to be able to accomplish, generally speaking. Number one I want to be able to sustain my current standard of living, and for my children and my grandchildren, right? So in that case, the rarity factor does not play in. I want, raw, well, this is really my savings account, right?
Yeah.
So if I have the raw coins, if I need the money and I need to liquidate, this is what gets liquidated first.
Yep.
So this is asset protection, and that's what it's about. It's just protecting my purchasing power so that I can live to fight another day.
Yeah.
But since part of what's important to me is leaving a legacy, because I'd like to think that my grandchildren's children and so on will still retain choices. When we look at governments and central banks that want to take those choices away, I want to retain them. So in that case, I can go to the quality of legacy gold, which in that case, yes, quality, and quality doesn't mean the gold content, it means the level of blemish, right? And rarity, that's going to play in. And in the meantime, because I want to expand my wealth base on the other side of it, I want the kind of gold that I can convert into income producing assets on the other side, or when I see like cup formations, different formations that tell me that we are likely near a bottom, that I'm happy to convert into whatever tool of barter I need to, whether it's a local currency or direct barter, right? So that's kind of in between that rare factor and just a piece of gold. Right? So as long as you know how much it's really worth.
That's true.
What difference does it make if you pay that little? We all have insurance, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You can't buy it after the fire has burned down your house.
Very
you
true.
need it before. So that's the way I look at it.
Okay, and so for a number of our viewers, there are people at all stages of their journey, whether it be collecting or stacking and things like that. And I'd like to ask a question from the perspective of, I'm a relatively new father. I have a little daughter, and I think there are a number of people out there that are just starting their journey. I wonder if you have any advice for someone. Thank you very much. It's a very, very exciting time.
Yes, indeed.
And what sort of advice would you have to someone who perhaps hasn't been exposed to the industry for a long period of time, or hasn't had someone like your Uncle Al who gave you those valuable lessons or opened that doorway for you, and they're just starting out now? What sort of advice or suggestions might you have?
Well, number one, you need to make educated choices, right? And so a lot of times when people are just stacking for the intrinsic value, they're losing sight of the bigger picture. So I would say the most important thing is to establish your goals. What are you trying to accomplish? Obviously, my children are grown, though I have grandchildren and someday will have great-grandchildren. I'm at a different place in my journey than you are. But the strategy based on history and those repeatable patterns, that's quite easy to learn. You just have to learn how to look. So I would say establish your goals. What is it that you want to accomplish? You've got children, you probably now want to think about educating them.
Yeah.
We can actually calculate based on historic precedents how much the true value of an ounce of gold, an ounce of silver is. You can also take a look at what tuition is today for college, right? And so you can actually calculate out the most likely amount of different kinds of gold and silver that you need to sustain your standard of living, educate your children, prepare for your retirement, and protect your purchasing power and wealth, and come out of this on the other side better off than you are on the way in, because you're buying something that is so severely undervalued. That's when you want to buy it, not when everybody is rushing in. Right? It's before they do that. So, and the other thing is, a lot of people will hesitate, right? Because they think they're going to be able to do everything like the second before everything collapses. I can tell you, since I started my journey, what I had available to purchase in 2002 is very different. Not just the price of it, but the availability of it. very different than it is today.
Yeah.
So the sooner you get started, the better off you are. You don't have to have a gazillion dollars in order to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know, what is your minimum? Like if they were going to call you to buy gold and silver, do you have a
There's
minimum?
absolutely no minimum. People come into the store and they'll buy a 1 ounce silver kangaroo for 40 Australian dollars, and that'll be the beginning of their journey. So it can start with any amount. It truly is. But as you highlight, when you have, the props here, when you physically hold it, there is something special about it, and it sounds like hocus pocus, but it does evoke something in you, particularly holding an ounce of silver or an ounce of gold. It really gives you a unique perspective, and you start to really appreciate the value of what it is that you're holding.
Exactly, because what this is real money.
Yeah.
Okay, and the other thing that I think people need to be aware of is that both gold and silver are used across the entire spectrum of the global economy.
Yeah.
Therefore, it has the biggest demand. It has the most functionality.
Yeah.
Right? Now the price, if it were a true supply-demand market, which it isn't at this point, the collectibles are, but gold is not. It's it's guided by the spot market, and then there'll be premiums based upon demand.
Yep.
But when you're looking at something, like this, what you're holding in your hand is like a bazooka going into this fight because of its broad-based use.
Yeah.
The fiat money is used in one place. So in confidence, and it requires confidence.
Yeah.
So when inflation runs really hot, the public starts to lose confidence.
Yeah.
There's not that much left at this juncture anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't think that central banks have conquered the inflation that they caused.
Yep.
Okay? So I think we are on a very thin thread. And when that public confidence goes, then that fiat money, that government-based money, that debt-based money, there's no demand for it.
Yeah.
This real money, there's always demand. Sometimes more, sometimes less.
Yeah.
But there's always demand.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's like taking a bazooka into a fight.
Yeah.
Because of that. And I don't hear too many people talk about the broad-based demand, but
No.
I think it's significant.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always said that there is a degree of what we refer to as the sleep at night factor that
Yes.
bullion has given me, and it's something that I wasn't aware of until I spoke to some friends in my age range that were very, very concerned about the current state of affairs and really, really anxious and quite literally not sleeping at night. And it wasn't until having a conversation that I came to the realization that part of the reason I'm alert and I'm a little alarmed about what the current state of the world, but I'm able to sleep at night because I've positioned myself in a way where I feel comfortable and confident because I'm holding physical gold and silver, and it provides me with a value beyond the monetary value. It's a psychological value that it's so hard to quantify.
No, you're exactly right with that, and I feel the same way about that. Like, I know no matter what happens, and I'm a lot older than you, right? So I have to think about, I'm in the last third of my life, but I have my children, I have my grandchildren, and those that aren't even born yet.
Yeah.
And it's so important for me to leave that legacy so that they continue to have choices.
Yeah.
Because we can see what governments want, what central bankers want, are CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, that remove all of your choices. If all you have are intangibles and they're fiat money, then you have to do what they want you to do. And if you don't like what they say and you say something about it, boom, they push a button and cut you off. Look what happened in Canada, which is supposed to be, a pretty free country, right? And the truckers disagreed. They didn't do anything illegal. And what did the government do? Pushed a button, cut off all of their money.
Yeah.
Now, if they had gold and silver outside of it, their money would not be cut off.
Yeah, that's
even
right.
if they took away the fiat.
Yeah.
Right? So, I agree with you, and I'm glad to see younger people paying attention
Yeah.
Right? And I did see some younger, even younger, very
yeah,
younger.
which is great to see.
Right. And my grandson, who is 10, is really into the gold and silver
really?
and real money.
Yep.
Yes, he is. It's phenomenal because it's me. You know, I'm old, right? But it's the younger generations that will create the revolution,
Yeah.
right? And demand your rights. We have to demand. Why do we just roll over and allow the abuse, allow the loss of our freedoms of speech? And I know I've experienced that, things that I couldn't say, because if I said them on air, I'd be cut off. But look that's getting even more and more and more intense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we need to come together and community is arguably the most important part of everything that we're talking about.
Absolutely, and it's such a nice community as well. It's such a positive. I love the degree of support for voices like yourself in the broader community, and having your own platforms on YouTube and things like that, being able to speak freely and have people in the comments post their opinions and things like that. It's so nice to see, and events like these are a wonderful way for everyone to physically get together. This is surreal. This is bizarre. Just sitting, after watching you on YouTube, and I'm sure you get that a lot, and just being able to speak with you in person is a real privilege. So I appreciate you taking the time to sit down. I realize you're very busy, so I won't take up any more of your day, but I appreciate you coming down to the event, flying all the way to Australia for this.
Oh, it's wonderful. I'm so glad that I did this.
Well, it's been a real privilege, and I think our audience will get a lot out of anyone who attended the conference last night and watching these videos. I hope they enjoy it, and I appreciate you taking the time to have a chat.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I appreciate
who
it.
knows, we might see you in the States one day when we get over there.
I hope so. If you do, I'll take you to my farm.
Yeah, I want to have some of your figs.
Absolutely. Oh, those figs are so good. Yes, absolutely. If it's fig season.
Oh, okay.
So it depends on when you come.
All right, we'll have to
But
book
I'll
it
make sure that
strategically.
you can have lots of yummy food from my farm.
Oh, lovely.
No
All right,
problem.
look forward to it. Thank you very much once again, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.